Our journeys often begin not with a map, but with a whisper. Mine began under the warm sun of a bustling Mexican port town, filming the daily lives of the local fishing community. I met an old man named Mateo, his face a testament to a life lived under the sun. His hands were busy mending a vibrant blue net. I approached him, hoping for a story. As he looked out towards the horizon, he smiled a knowing, secretive smile. He spoke of a place not on any tourist map, known only to a handful of local fishermen. He called it La Cuna del Silencio, the cradle of silence. He spoke of sand the color of crushed pearls and water so clear it felt like looking through liquid glass. He told me of nights when the waves would glow with an ethereal blue light. Listening to him, I felt the irresistible pull of the unknown. The fisherman had unknowingly handed me a new compass. The fisherman's words sparked my curiosity about La Cuna del Silencio. The name promised tranquility, unlike the bustling port town. Maps, both digital and paper, revealed nothing. It was a phantom, a geographical ghost story. This absence fueled my desire to find this hidden paradise. Locals offered fragmented tales, whispers passed down through generations, painting a picture of a near mythical destination. The more I searched, the more I found folklore, transforming the beach into a legendary realm. It was becoming less of a destination and more of a quest. This journey required trust and intuition, stepping off the beaten path. The fisherman hadn't given me a map, but a riddle. I was compelled to discover what was hidden. I had to find this cradle of silence. Every great expedition begins with a single step. For me, that step was packing my bags. My objective: to find a beach that the modern world had forgotten. This felt liberating, a return to exploration. I had a responsibility to capture the essence of this place. Yet, this fear was overshadowed by the fear of not trying. The initial leg was guided by Mateo's clues, pointing south towards 3 sleeping giants. As I traveled, the landscape began to change. The paved roads turned to dirt tracks, winding through dense green jungle. My phone signal had long since vanished. This disconnection was clarifying. It allowed me to focus completely on the present moment. The adventure had truly begun. The journey south began on a rugged coastal track. The sturdy jeep bounced along the uneven terrain, kicking up clouds of dust. The air was thick with the scent of salt and wild vegetation. I was leaving the familiar world behind, mile by dusty mile. Every turn revealed a new vista. This was a landscape that felt ancient and powerful. I felt a profound sense of solitude, a peaceful isolation. The lack of signposts forced me to rely on my instincts. The dry terrain would give way to pockets of lush, tropical growth. This was a wilder, more authentic version of Mexico, where nature still held dominion. The anticipation grew with each passing hour, aware that this entire venture was a gamble. Yet, the journey itself was becoming the reward. The dirt track led me to small hamlets nestled in sheltered bays. Life moved gently here. Stopping for water, I was met with genuine curiosity. The people's faces were weathered, their eyes holding depth and wisdom. In one village, I shared grilled fish with a family. Mentioning the cradle of silence, knowing glances were exchanged. They shared fragments of the tale, adding layers to the myth. Their reluctance stemmed from reverence, viewing the beach as a living entity. They believed beautiful places should be protected by discretion. Their words became a map of spirit. "Follow the coast," one man said. "When the rocks grow dark and tall, you are close." I left with renewed purpose, deemed worthy to continue my search. The coastline turned wild, cliffs of volcanic rock, the sea crashing below, and then, rising from the waves, 3 colossal sea stacks, the 3 sleeping giants of legend. Their immense forms loomed, silent and powerful, guardians of the coast and its secrets. I pulled over, awed by their scale, realizing the myth was rooted in reality. Somewhere near, hidden from sight, was the entrance to the secret beach. The cliffs offered no path, the jungle pressed to the edge, but I refused to turn back. The way forward was here, hidden, waiting to be found. The cliffs were impassable, so I searched elsewhere, drawn to a dense mangrove thicket by a small estuary. There, a narrow water channel snaked into the forest, a secret entrance invisible from the road. I left the jeep, waded in, and the world outside vanished, replaced by a cool, shadowed tunnel of roots and water. The silence was profound, broken only by my movements and distant insects. pushing through, certainty grew. This was the final test, a rite of passage. Ahead, a sliver of brilliant light, the end of the tunnel, and the hidden beach beyond. I emerged from the mangroves into blinding sunlight. Lacuna del Silencio, the cradle of silence, revealed at last. The cove was a perfect crescent enclosed by jungle and cliffs, the water impossibly clear and blue. No signs of humanity, just sand, sea, and wild blossoms cascading down the rocks. I stood overwhelmed, feeling like an intruder in a sacred place. My camera felt unnecessary, the urge to capture faded before the need to simply be present. Mateo's stories hadn't exaggerated, the magic was real, the peace profound. I had arrived at the edge of the known world. Walking the shoreline, I discovered the true meaning of silence, a symphony of nature, free from the noise of civilization. Waves whispered, not crashed, their gentle hiss soothing and rhythmic. Palm fronds rustled, birds called from the jungle, insects hummed a delicate, living music. I sat on driftwood, closed my eyes, and let the sounds recalibrate my senses. Here, silence was alive, rich, and deeply calming. In the cradle of silence, I remembered what true quiet felt like. Opening my eyes, I was struck by the intensity of the colors. Azure water, white and gold-flecked sand, 1,000 shades of green. Flowers exploded in magenta, orange, and yellow against the jungle backdrop. Even the rocks shimmered with hidden hues in the sun. The cove was a living canvas, its beauty shifting with every moment. No camera could capture it. It had to be experienced, absorbed slowly. This was nature's masterpiece, alive and ever-changing. I walked the untouched beach, my footprints the only sign of humanity in this pristine world. No litter, no marks, just driftwood and shells shaped by the sea. The sand felt ancient, unchanged for millennia, a living record of Earth's story. Each step was a respectful intrusion, a reminder of nature's perfection when left alone. I moved slowly, careful not to disturb the magic. I was a guest here, and I vowed to leave it as I found it, perfect and untouched. Reaching the far end of the cove, I settled in the shade of an overhanging rock formation. From this vantage point, I could take in the entire panorama of the beach, the mangrove forest I had emerged from, now just a dark green line in the distance. The sense of seclusion was absolute. The two high, rocky headlands that framed the bay acted like great arms, embracing this stretch of coast and shielding it completely from the outside world. They blocked any view of the open ocean and, I imagined, any sound from passing boats, had there been any. It was a world entirely unto itself. This feeling of being in a separate, self-contained universe was incredibly powerful. The constant connectivity that defines modern life, the emails, the notifications, the endless stream of information, had no way of reaching me here. My phone was merely a camera, its communication abilities rendered useless. This forced disconnection was not a loss, but a profound gain. It created a mental space, a quietness of the mind that allowed for a deeper connection with my surroundings. My thoughts slowed down and my senses sharpened, fully attuned to the rhythms of this isolated paradise. I felt a sense of liberation, a release from the pressures and expectations of the world I had left behind. Here, there were no schedules to keep, no deadlines to meet. Time itself seemed to operate differently, measured not by the ticking of a clock, but by the slow arc of the sun across the sky and the gentle ebb and flow of the tide. I was an observer in a world governed by natural cycles, a simple, elegant rhythm that was both calming and deeply reassuring. It was a powerful antidote to the frantic, artificial pace of 21st century living. This profound isolation was the final ingredient in the beach's spell. It was what transformed it from a beautiful location into a truly magical one. It was a place where one could be utterly alone with one's thoughts, surrounded only by the raw, unfiltered beauty of nature. It was the cradle of silence, in every sense of the name, a place that not only offered auditory quiet but also nurtured a deep internal stillness. As the afternoon sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the sand, I knew that this experience, this feeling of being completely and peacefully set apart from the world, would stay with me forever. As twilight settled over the cove, I hoped to witness the fisherman's story, the glowing waves. The darkness deepened, and the first stars appeared. I waited with anticipation. Then I saw it, a faint sparkle. I stepped into the shallows. The result was breathtaking. With every movement, the water erupted in electric blue light. It was like stirring a galaxy. This was a dazzling, otherworldly spectacle. It was pure magic. I spent hours mesmerized, watching waves shimmer with blue fire. I ran my hands through the water, dripping with light. I was swimming in a sea of stars. The next morning, I turned my attention to another of the beach's mysteries. In the bright light, the sand had a distinct and beautiful pinkish hue. Curious, I knelt down for a closer look. It was teeming with the minuscule, colorful remnants of marine life. These were the crushed shells of foraminifera, microscopic organisms that live on the nearby coral reefs. When they die, their shells are washed ashore, eventually becoming part of the beach itself. The very ground beneath my feet was composed of the remains of millions of tiny living creatures, their collective existence creating this beautiful, rosy shore. Each handful of sand was a miniature museum, showcasing the history of the reef. The pink sand was a gift from the reef, a quiet reminder of the intricate processes that shape our world. One evening, watching the sunset, I witnessed one of the cove's secrets. A large, dark shape emerged from the surf, a magnificent female sea turtle. She hauled her heavy body onto the sand, driven by an ancient instinct. She chose a spot and began to dig a deep chamber. Then she began the mesmerizing process of laying her eggs. Dozens of soft, white spheres dropped into the nest. After she finished, she carefully covered the nest, disguising the location. Her work complete, she returned to the sea. Beneath the sand, 100 new lives were waiting to begin their journey. This beach, a vital nursery for ancient sea creatures. The seclusion of the beach made it a haven not just for turtles, but for a rich variety of other wildlife. The animals here seemed to possess a remarkable calmness, an absence of the fear that so often characterizes creatures living near human populations. They were the true inhabitants of this place, and I was merely a temporary guest in their kingdom. In the mornings, I would often see ghost crabs skittering across the sand, their pale bodies almost invisible until they moved, their stalk eyes watching me with a placid curiosity before they vanished into their burrows. They were the beach's diligent cleaners, tidying the shore with tireless efficiency. Above the beach, the air was alive with activity. Large, magnificent frigate birds soared on the thermal updrafts created by the cliffs, their huge wingspans and forked tails making them unmistakable silhouettes against the blue sky. They were masters of the air, effortlessly riding the wind currents. Closer to the jungle's edge, brilliantly colored motmots would perch on low-hanging branches. With their distinctive racket-tipped tails and vibrant turquoise plumage, they were like living jewels. They would watch me with intelligent, inquisitive eyes, their calls a soft, hooting sound that echoed gently across the cove. The jungle that bordered the sand was a world in itself, and occasionally, its inhabitants would venture out. One afternoon, a family of coatis, their long noses and ringed tails held high, trotted along the tree line, foraging for insects and fallen fruit. They moved with a confident, bustling energy, seemingly unconcerned by my presence. They were a delightful and comical sight, a reminder of the thriving terrestrial ecosystem that was intrinsically linked to this coastal paradise. Their presence underscored how the health of the jungle was vital to the integrity of the entire cove. These encounters were a constant source of wonder. They were not fleeting glimpses, but sustained observations of animals behaving naturally in their own, undisturbed habitat. Each creature, from the smallest crab to the largest soaring bird, played a role in the life of the cove. They were the guardians and the gardeners, the hunters and the hunted, all part of a complex and balanced community. Seeing them so at ease was perhaps the clearest sign of the beach's pristine nature. It was a place where the ancient contract between wildlife and the world had not yet been broken by human interference. As my days in the cove unfolded, I began to see beyond its individual features: the glowing water, the pink sand, the nesting turtles. I started to perceive the intricate connections that tied everything together into a single, cohesive whole. This was not just a collection of natural wonders. It was a perfectly functioning, self-sustaining ecosystem. Every element, from the microscopic foraminifera to the towering jungle trees, was dependent on the others. The health and beauty of this place were the result of a delicate and complex balance that had been established over countless centuries of isolation. The vibrant coral reef offshore, which I could see as dark patches under the clear water, was the heart of the system. It was the source of the pink sand, and it provided a rich feeding ground for the sea turtles and the myriad of fish that swam in the cove. In return, the mangrove forest I had traveled through acted as a vital filter. Its dense network of roots trapped sediment and pollutants from the land, ensuring the water that reached the reef remained crystal clear, allowing the coral to thrive. It was a perfect cyclical relationship of mutual benefit. The jungle, too, played its part. It stabilized the steep cliffs, preventing erosion that could smother the beach and the reef. It provided a home for the birds and mammals whose presence contributed to the dispersal of seeds and the overall health of the plant life. Even the nightly spectacle of bioluminescence was part of this web. The dinoflagellates were a crucial part of the marine food chain, a foundational life form that supported so many others. Everything was linked. To diminish one part of this ecosystem would be to risk unraveling the whole beautiful tapestry. Witnessing this firsthand was a profound and humbling lesson in ecology. It highlighted the fragility of such pristine environments. The magic of Lacuna del Silencio was not just in its beauty, but in its wholeness, its completeness. It was a living, breathing system where every component worked in perfect harmony. This understanding filled me with a sense of awe, but also a sense of responsibility. Places like this are Earth's masterpieces, and their continued existence depends entirely on our ability to recognize their delicate balance and protect them from the disruptions that have already silenced so many other cradles of nature. This hidden cove resonated on a deeper, almost spiritual level. Standing on its shores, I felt a powerful connection to something older and more fundamental. The purity of the environment stripped away distractions, allowing for a more authentic experience. This beach spoke to the soul, whispering timeless truths about beauty, resilience, and peace. Every element conveyed a sense of harmony that felt profoundly sacred. This connection felt strong during the gentle birth of dawn or the slow, colorful fade of twilight. Watching the moon rise, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. These instances were transformative, forging a permanent bond between my inner self and the soul of this cove. Here, I finally understood Mateo's descriptions of the beach's character. The beach had an aura of profound wisdom, a calmness born of immense age and solitude. Spending time in the cradle of silence was like undergoing a complete recalibration of my senses. In my normal life, my senses are constantly bombarded. Here, in this pristine environment, they were reawakened. The gentle sounds of the cove, the subtle shifts in the color of the water, the complex fragrance of the sea air, all were perceived with an incredible, heightened intensity. My sense of hearing was perhaps the most profoundly affected, replaced by the delicate symphony of the natural world. Visually, the world seemed to expand. My eyes relaxed into the vastness of the horizon. I noticed the minute details. Even my sense of touch was re-engaged. I walked barefoot everywhere, feeling the shifting textures of the sand. This sensory reawakening was a powerful reminder of what it means to be fully alive. Beyond the sensory experience, the most significant impact of this place was on my state of mind. The profound seclusion and the absence of modern world pressures created a unique mental space, a true sanctuary for the mind. The constant internal chatter, the endless to-do lists, and the low-level anxiety that often form the background noise of my thoughts began to quieten. In their place, a sense of deep stillness and clarity emerged. My thoughts slowed down, becoming more focused and intentional. It was as if the silence of the cove had seeped inwards, calming the turbulent waters of my own consciousness. This mental quietude allowed for a different kind of thinking, more reflective, creative, and expansive. Without the usual distractions, I found myself contemplating bigger questions, reflecting on my own life and my place in the world with a perspective that is hard to achieve amidst the rush of daily routine. The simple, elegant logic of the ecosystem around me, the cycles, the balance, the resilience, provided a powerful metaphor for my own life. It was a reminder of the importance of harmony, patience, and connection. This beach was not just a physical retreat. It was a philosophical one, a place that encouraged introspection and personal insight. The feeling of being completely self-reliant, even for a short time, was also incredibly empowering. Making my way through the mangroves, finding my own food and water sources, and navigating by the sun and stars reconnected me with dormant, fundamental human skills. This reliance on my own instincts and abilities fostered a quiet confidence and a sense of profound competence. It was a powerful reminder that we are more capable and resilient than our comfortable modern lives often lead us to believe. It stripped life back to its essentials, and in that simplicity, I found a surprising and deeply satisfying strength. As I prepared to leave, I knew that this experience would leave a lasting imprint on my soul. The Cradle of Silence had given me more than just incredible footage and a good story. It had given me a new internal benchmark for peace. I now carried the memory of its quietness, its beauty, and its harmony within me. It serves as a mental sanctuary I can return to whenever the noise of the world becomes too much. The beach had offered a profound and lasting gift. The knowledge that such purity still exists, and the deep restorative power of connecting with an earth that remains, in some sacred corners, utterly and beautifully untouched. Leaving the Cradle of Silence was difficult. The journey back felt different. Re-emerging into the world felt jarring, like waking from a beautiful dream. The air seemed heavier, the sounds harsher. The memories are now etched into my mind as powerful feelings. I can still hear the profound symphony of the silence and the distant calls of the motmots. Most vividly, I recall the magic of the bioluminescent water. This journey, which began with the quiet words of an old fisherman, became a lesson in the value of the unknown. Laguna del Silencio stands as a testament to the fact that there are still secrets to be found. They are reservoirs of peace and purity. Reflecting on my time there, I understand that the beach's greatest gift was a shift in perspective. It underscored the fragile interconnectedness of nature and the urgent need to protect these last pristine corners of our planet. Its enduring echo is a call to cherish and defend the wild, untouched places that hold the true soul of our world. My journey to this hidden paradise was a singular experience, a personal quest for a place that existed more in story than on any map. Yet the magic I found there is not exclusive to that one stretch of sand. The world is still full of wonders, large and small, waiting to be discovered. They may not all be as dramatic or as perfectly secluded as the Cradle of Silence, but they are there. They exist in the quiet corners of local woodlands, in the undiscovered alleys of ancient cities, and in the stories shared by strangers. The spirit of exploration is not just for grand expeditions to remote continents. It is a mindset we can all embrace. I hope this journey inspires you to seek out your own hidden places. I invite you to look beyond the popular destinations and the well-trodden tourist trails. Allow yourself to get purposefully lost. Talk to the local people, listen to their stories, and be open to the unplanned detours that often lead to the most memorable adventures. The greatest rewards are often found when we trade the certainty of a plan for the thrill of discovery. It is in these moments of uncertainty and curiosity that we truly connect with the world and with ourselves, creating stories that are uniquely our own. The purpose of sharing this story, of bringing you along on this journey through my lens and my words, is not simply to show you a beautiful place. It is to share the feeling of awe and connection that such places can evoke. It is to remind us all of the profound beauty and fragility of our planet. Here at Travel and Wonders, our mission is to continue searching for these incredible destinations, to document their magic, and to celebrate the spirit of adventure that leads us to them. There are countless more stories to tell, and countless more wonders to find. So, I encourage you to keep your sense of wonder alive. Let your curiosity be your compass. And if you wish to join us on future journeys to uncover more of the world's hidden gems, I invite you to subscribe. Our travels are just beginning, and the next magical destination could be just around the corner, waiting for a whisper to reveal its existence. Thank you for sharing this adventure with me. The world is vast and beautiful, and there is so much more to see. Let us continue to explore it together.